The burdens of inequality. The concept of race has progressed from the international competition for wealth and power to religious doctrine to biological classifications to a personal attitude. Yet, conditions and opportunities are unequal between competing minority groups. There has been no equal sharing of burdens in our equal opportunity society. Members of ethnic, class, gender, disabled, religious, Spanish language, and sexual orientation groups have not been treated in a manner equal to blacks. This nation has never enacted and supported public policies and laws that have denied non-blacks access to the nation's educational, political, social, and economic systems. These groups have not been customarily lynched, castrated, exploited, and denied the fruits of their labor. Blacks are the only group of people forced to practice capitalism without capital in the richest and most capitalistic nature on earth. These facts, coupled with the majority society's total unwillingness to approve corrective actions and reparations for descendants of black slaves, reveal the true nature of racism against black people. Racism and other legacies of slavery predetermined the success of black Americans as a group. One of the most glaring examples of inherited inequalities is wealth distribution. Black Americans' percentage of ownership of the nation's wealth remains where it was in the 1860s, on the eve of the Civil War. At that time, when nearly every black person in America was either a full slave or semi-slavery, blacks owned 1/2 of 1% of the nation's wealth. The emancipation of enslaved blacks in no sense rendered social justice and economic recompense. Today, more than 140 years later, we are 100% free, yet black people still own only 1/2 of 1% of the nation's wealth. Today, the income of blacks as compared to white has regressed to the level that it was at the end of 1960s. Approximately 38% of the black population is beneath the poverty line, and another 1/3 is marginal, just above the poverty line. The limited assets that black Americans most often have, such as automobiles and personal effects, depreciate rather than appreciate in value. Blacks even find that our homes, usually our most valuable assets, have a limited market, and prices are dictated by urban renewal, expressways, and gentrification. The average black person passes on 0 assets to future generations. The typical white family is more economically stable and secure. Approximately 87% of this nation's economic assets are now frozen within the dominant white society, are now passed on from one generation to the next in such forms as stocks, bonds, lands, businesses, trust accounts, endowments, foundation, and insurance policies. Therefore, white children are privileged to enter the world with 87% of the resources that they need to succeed in life already in their families, race, communities, businesses, schools, governments, or social organizations. Thus, succeeding generations of whites can access these wealth resources over and over again. What is wealth? Wealth refers to the net value of a person, group, or community less their liabilities or debt at a given point in time. It is stored value. Income, in contrast, refers to a flow of dollars over a period of time. With rare exceptions, most blacks are so marginalized that they own and control little wealth or resources anywhere, including their own neighborhoods. The ancestors of enslaved blacks were forced to concentrate simply on surviving, pursuing civil rights and integration. They had little to bequeath to their descendants. Even though they succeeded in their social and civil rights efforts, their children could not inherit welfare, food stamps, public housing, or a good job.